Hello, good morning, everyone. So, today I'm going to discuss a very sensitive topic. Uh, I've seen, last couple of weeks, a lot of things going around about nutrition, right? And there's a lot of different claims by different people, whether it's nutrition coaches or even health tech companies, fitness companies, right? And everyone has a conflicting advice, right? So I want to discuss about nutrition in detail and what I call is primitive nutrition, and what we are doing at Gene Athletics in terms of focusing on the precision nutrition. Right, so let me share my screen. Yeah. So again, the future of nutrition is data-driven and precision, right? So um, if you see the current state of the disease ecosystem, right? 41% of the global adult population suffering from the range of chronic disease and cancer, right? And it's like we are living in dark ages. We don't know why we have developed it, right? And we are just trying to resort to measures to manage the diseases, right? So it's a sort of unsolved mystery, right? And if you see the two major proponents of health, right? Research or academia and modern medicine, right? And neither of them are getting into the root cause of why we are developing these conditions, right? And so, for instance, academia is or research is focused on publishing papers, to securing grants, and these papers actually sit in servers, right? Cloud servers, and nobody is actually using these papers to apply the knowledge from these papers into some sort of meaningful transformative outcomes for the people who are suffering from chronic disease. While pharma sector, what we call modern medicine, is just focus on managing disease and suppressing their symptoms, right? So modern medicine, be it doctor, pharma companies, diagnostic companies, they have no little or no incentive to actually cure these diseases. They make money when you are sick. So even if you're healthy, they are not going to make any money. Consider this a pharma company says to the investors, okay, I'm developing a vaccine which is going to cure, for instance, diabetes, right? So essentially from next year, our revenue would go down by 10-15%. So probably nobody's going to accept that. And that's a basic understand. There's a basic reason why, most of the modern medicine methods just focus on, keeping you sick and managing your disease so that you keep on coming to them, every month and uh, every month signing up for the services or consultation or buying medicine or diagnostic test, right? So again, the nutrition by far is the most important determination of health, right? So food is what we eat, what goes into our mouth, right? And in our digestive tube, right, starting from mouth to our gut, right, is what determines the state of our health, right? But you know, there have been conflicting nutrition advice, every now and then, so all the nutrition research papers are based on the premise that all people will react in the same way to all foods, right? And that's what 99% of the health tech companies and fitness companies are doing, right? So most of them are focused on calorie deficit, calorie counting, quantified nutrition, ketosis, high protein diet, low carb diets, Mediterranean diets and whatnot, right? And we don't understand, what works for you, what doesn't work for us, and all these are based on certain researches, nutrition researches, which actually have conflicting views. So there would be research will say, okay, spinach is good. Some research will say spinach is bad. Someone will say, you should take a high protein diet. Some research team will say, taking high protein diet is bad for your gut health, right? Uh, there are a number of people that say, okay, broccoli has a lot of, antioxidants and vitamins and minerals, so you should take it. But, some people would say, okay, you have, it has certain ingredients which can cause digestive issues, which can cause inflammation, right? So the entire research is based on population studies, right? So whatever recommendations are coming is for an average individual, right? For a group of every individual, but not everyone have an sort of equal representation of the health which these research are actually undertaking, right? So essentially not everyone is a having that average health, right? So it may or may not work, and again this is all guesswork, all belief systems, right? You see there I've shared couple of uh, extracts from news articles which says, there is an, everyone has got an opinion on nutrition, right? And it may work for you right now, it may not work, or it may work for you for 3 months, it may not work, right? So it's really tough to understand, what specific foods you should eat, right? There are a number of things which are going on, the CGM machines, blood works, or even DNA testing, right? So it's the thing is, I'll discuss in the next slides also, that what matters is your measuring your chemistry, which no one is doing right now, right? So again, current nutrition recommendation is full of flaws. So if you go to three different nutritionists, doctors, or coaches, or you join some fitness or health community, all will give you three different diet plans, right? So which one to believe, which one is right, which one is wrong, right? So basically, at one point, if you go to three different people, your chemistry is same, right? So how could your body could give different results, right? Or how could your body would or how people would recommend three different recommendations for the same biochemistry or same chemistry. So that's why all this is guesswork. They are not measuring chemistry. They are just doing based on some anecdotal evidence. It worked for 30% or 40% of the customers, so it will work for you as well. That's a normal norm which happens, right? So or someone will say, take ketosis, quantified nutrition, paleo, right? But, so nutrition is science and science is objective. So you cannot say 10 to 10 is 90 or 110. 10 to 10 it would be 100, right? So that's why nutrition is in our scheme of things, a gene fit clinics, right? Nutrition is biology plus chemistry plus maths. That's what we focus on, right? So again, we focus on data-driven nutrition. What we call is nutrition infinity, right? Uh, so when you talk of primitive nutrition, right, these are generic nutrition interventions like eat more vegetables, eat more fiber, more protein, right? Yeah, they don't tell, okay, which vegetable we should consume, which we should avoid, which we should minimize, right? For instance, broccoli, if broccoli is, if you have a lot of, sulfate producing things, stuff inside your body, right? So essentially, broccoli is harmful, right? Fat diets like, ketosis, high protein diets, right? These are general way because we generally think, and most of the service providers think that food is only about protein, carbs, fats, and fiber, but it is much more than that, right? So, uh, it is in bouquet of 25,000 plus bioactive molecules and chemicals, right? So we have to go beyond the thinking of protein, carbs, and fats, right? So we don't here have to focus on the calorie counting, rather, the biological processes that is impacting how the food is being metabolized inside the body, right? It is not about what you're eating, it is about how it is being processed, you know, metabolized and synthesized inside the body, right? So the primitive nutrition assumes that everyone will react to food in a similar way, right? Every body would react to the food in similar way. So probably if you are if I'm eating apple and you're eating apple, both body our body will react the same way, which is wrong, right? So because our body is as unique as our fingerprint, right? So it's totally guesswork and belief system. So consider CGM. CGMs are, yesterday, a couple of days back, I was talking to someone from a health tech company, right, who is using CGMs to manage and suppress blood sugar level, and they were just saying that it's all we do a CGM for meals and we just do a guesswork. We just try to see different permutation combination to see what will work, what won't work, right? So all these are guesswork. Again, I don't want to get into too much of CGM because we discussed this earlier, but if you're using CGM to suppress your blood sugar levels, right, probably damage will be done. The focus has to be on regulating the insulin response, not on blood sugar level, because if your blood sugar is spiking, probably your insulin sensitivity is going for a toss, right? So most of these primitive nutrition will focus on addressing nutritional deficiencies such as iron and vitamin D through supplements. Right, even if you eat them, it is not going to make you off of deficiencies. Right, you keep on popping these pills, and you will not have, because you don't understand why you have an iron deficiency. Even if you have that, what specific uh, foods or what biological processes is being reason for such deficiency, and how you can regulate or modulate those biological processes, what matters, right? So popping pills for meeting nutrition deficiency is just waste of time and money, right? So what we do is at Nutrition Infinity is completely data driven, right? We don't have any nutritionists, biotechnologists, coaches, doctors in our entire team, right? So we focus on biology, chemistry plus math, as we told you, right? So our body is sack of multiple biochemical reactions happening inside the body, right? And which we analyze using mathematics, right? Uh, so we go beyond macronutrients and calorie counting, consume synthesis of 25,000 plus bacteria molecules in food substrates, right? So we see how these molecules in various foods are interacting with our microbiome, right? And how the microbiome actually, metabolize these foods and synthesize into what byproducts, and these byproducts is what alters our physiology, changes our genes, especially mixes develop disease, keep us healthy, right? So in our in our company, right? So what we focus is, we have an unique human microbiome therapeutics platform, right? Which start from your biological sample collection, right? To entire measuring your biology plus chemistry, and then applying mathematics to understand what is going on inside your body, and then provide recommendations to actually regulate your biology. All is data driven. There's no human intervention, right? So we have serviced more than 200 plus customers. So there are 200 plus diets. No two people have the same diet, right? And our platform is being fed with uh, existing scientific literature and the customer data every day. So it keep on improving with each edition of the customer, right? So that's the beauty of our, what we call is human microbiome therapeutics platform, right? So it's entirely data driven. There's no human intervention. We don't understand ketosis, any fat diets, any high protein diets. We just focus on the food structures and molecules inside various foods, and how they interact with our microbiome, and how the microbiome converts these food substrates into various, you know, byproducts, or what we call a secondary metabolites. These metabolites is what, you know, gives us vitamins, minerals, starch and fatty acids, or antioxidants, or give us bad things which change our genes, especially mixes of disease. So, let's discuss also about DNA, right? So we've seen a lot of human DNA testing companies, operating for last 8 to 10 years, right? Claiming that, you sequence your DNA, we can tell you risk of a disease, right? And based on DNA, give you diets, right? So, and again, this is all flawed, right? So DNA is static, right? So from time you're born to time you die, your DNA remains same. So DNA may be responsible for very rare uh, genetic disorders, and what we call is rare. It's not chronic disease, right? So it's rare genetic disorders, right? If you have certain gene mutations, right? Otherwise, genetic factors are not the major cause of chronic disease. So I've shared a paper which clearly establish this claim, right? And if you see, if you compare a person who DNA of a person who was healthy versus DNA person, he's sick. Once he was healthy and then he was sick, so his DNA would be same. Right? Similarly, two people suffering from diabetes would have two different organisms. Will have different organism, but would have same metabolites, which is causing type 2 diabetes, right? So So whether you call it human DNA or microbial DNA, right? Understanding which microbes are there or which genes are there doesn't matter, right? It doesn't help you understand what biological process is making you develop a disease, because your genes will not change, right? So again, chronic disease is nothing to do with genetic states. It is all about alteration in the chemistry, right? Which as of now has not been fully understood. So essentially, our body always gets signals. Start releasing based on interaction between food we eat and our microbiome. They start releasing, certain pro-inflammatory molecules which alters our genes expression, which alters our physiology. But there's none of the current set of investigations which decode these molecular signatures. So over a period of time, these molecular signatures gets converted into various symptoms, and then we go to a doctor, we track the symptoms of a plasma and diagnostic test, and then we try to suppress the symptoms, right? So that's how the entire chronic disease process works. So our focus has to be on understanding these molecular signatures, which are predictive of chronic diseases, right? and when the symptoms have not been occurred. So if you can understand and you can understand how we can suppress this through nutrition, probably you will not even develop a disease. So again, talking about the microbial DNA, so except us in India, every other microbial DNA company is microbiome companies focus on microbial sequencing, microbial DNA, right? Understanding which microbe is there, what is their alpha and beta diversity, right? So now understand this in a common language that our cells, human cells and microbial cells, human cells, they don't understand the name of the microorganisms, right? They don't have eye or ears. They just understand the biochemical signals, right? So whether you have a bacteria or whether he's capable of producing bitrate or not, it doesn't matter. What matters is if it is actually producing bitrate or not, right? So it only understands the chemicals being produced, the biochemical signals being released, or the metabolites being released, which actually tells whether bitrate is being produced or not, right? So again, microbial DNA is sequencing just waste of time, money. The focus has to be on the microbial functions, right? So go for a sequencing which focus on the microbial functions, not on the alpha beta diversity, focusing on which microbes are there, who are active, what they are doing, what they are producing, how much of each metabolite it is producing, how these metabolites is impacting various biological processes, and how you can actually map these pathways with various, uh, molecules and the food substrates to actually understand what food you should eat right now, what we should minimize, what food you should avoid. Right? That's the beauty of nutrition infinity, what we follow at Gene Therapeutics. Right. So this is how we arrive at. So we start with your biological sample, right? We collect your biological sample. We go through the microbial sequencing for the functional activity, right? We measure your chemistry. We convert this chemistry using our mathematical algorithms, right? Mathematical models. Uh, to convert them into biological pathways, and then we map these biological pathways with various food substrates to arrive at nutrition recommendations, which is again precision nutrition for healthy state. We can tell you which food you should eat, in what quantity, which food you should minimize, which food you should avoid, which food you should moderate, right? Which supplements you need, how much you need, how much of prebiotic and probiotic you need, right? It is all based on the functional pathways 24 based on measuring your biology and chemistry. So there is no human environment. There is no nutritionist here. It is all data driven, data collected from your biological sample, from your phenotype. You know, your biological sample is converted into some sort of molecular data sets which our system can read and convert into various biological pathways, which again it can lead to nutrition interventions. Right? So that's the basic what I wanted to discuss. Today the do not go for fat diets. Do not go for. No one can tell you what you should eat, what you should not, because your chemistry is not measured by cannot be measured just by a blood test or just by a CGM. Right? We need to understand the alteration chemistry going on at a molecular level. How your microbiome is processing various food substrates and what they are converting into, right? Human DNA tests just tell you potential which genes is there. It doesn't tell what your genes are doing, how genes are being expressed, right? So the focus has to be on the function and genes expression, not on the DNA. Coming on to microbial DNA again, just to summarize, microbial DNA is just a way of telling which bacteria is there, which doesn't help because your human cells, your body does not understand the name of the organism. They do not have INS. They just understand the biochemical sequence. So we focus on the microbial sequencing, which focuses on the functional activity, right? That's what we do at Gene Therapeutics. We don't focus on the DNA. We focus on the functional activity of the microbiome, right? And how these functional activities is, interacting with your food and how it is either giving you health or disease. That's it for today. Have a great day ahead.